like they say, better late than ever. Thank you for being patient for our WWE Crown Jewel 2024 review. This awesome thing happened called I Got Sick. So I was very sick watching the show.
Love it.
So, yeah,
love when that happens. Like I love
weather changes and it's just like nothing like, hey, it's finally fall, like hitting you in the face with a fucking cold. So again, thank you for being patient with us as we covered WWE Crown Jewel. You know what?
The show was alright. It was okay.
I was gonna say, going into the show, I was ready for either at best an underwhelming show, or at worst a fucking train wreck. And I'm gonna say, I actually walked away from the show pleasantly surprised. I thought it was solid. I thought we got some good matches.
Definitely.
I don't agree with the booking of this pay-per-view per se, but I think they went into both of these fucking champion versus champion matches, and I think they got out of both of them with the least amount of collateral damage one could.
Yeah. Absolutely. And exactly to his point, you guys have been very patient with the ZNT Wrestling show coming back after we did a retrospective show, which was very fun, and we'll continue to do those. We'll continue to crank out these podcasts as much as we can. Crown Jewel 2024, I mean, it's, again, like as soon as Triple H pulled out those 50-carat championship belts at Bad Blood, I didn't really have a lot of expectations. Yeah, the championships that are
titles.
Yeah, the big ass titles that are kept under lock and key and escorted to the ring by security guards in suits.
Those have to be the most expensive, over the top. I don't even know what to call those monstrosities of titles I've ever seen in my life. Like the winner of the men's match in particular. Like that championship, just like, wow, holy shit, that's the most unsubtle title I've ever seen in my life. You look at simplicity when it comes to titles, and the first thing that pops to mind is the NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah.
So, not, it doesn't take up too much focus, but it looks like, no pun intended, the crown jewel of the business and whoever's carrying it.
And
former NWA World's Champion, the look looks up perfect. And then you look at this big fucking Emerald City title and you're just like, wow. Wow.
Which is totally fitting. It's totally fitting with Wicked hitting theaters in a couple of weeks. I am also going to be reviewing The Wizard of Oz in the build-up to that for all of my cinephiles who are watching this podcast. But yeah, those titles, as soon as Hunter announced them, like, first of all, they were gaudy as hell. I'm sure they're not as expensive as the Snoop Dogg title that Tomas still refuses to buy, but regardless,
I would rather buy the Snoop Dogg title than own a Crown Jewel title.
He said it! He said it!
I said it, rather.
He said it! He said it! Buy the Snoop Dogg title.
The confetti and the party poppers are going to start coming out.
He said they're
keeping up there for all this time. That's probably a skeleton at this point.
You're right. But yeah, the second thing is, like, he announced it was champion versus champion, and immediately all storylines went out the door for a few weeks so that we could do some bragging rights bullshit, which I have hated in the WWE over the past decade. But hey, I hope we get some good matches.
Went out the door, and everybody collectively groaned because nothing screams booked into a corner like a champion versus champion match. Like, in
both cases,
ones, like over the years, we've gotten, our Bryan Danielson versus Brock Lesnar, or AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar. We've got some decent ones like Big E versus Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns, but nothing screams, again, booking yourselves into a corner, like going into a match and saying, well, shit, one of our champions has to get pinned now.
Exactly.
I was so nervous going to the show, but what we got out of it, again, the least amount of collateral damage one could get. I'm still very irked, and I think this is so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Fan of champion versus champion, and hell, I'm in the minority of I don't like title unifications either.
No.
So you just keep world champions as far apart as possible. There's only one time where I thought it was cool, and that's when Triple H and JBL met backstage at WrestleMania 21. That felt like a true crossover episode in WWE.
Not Edge and King Booker at SummerSlam 06, which we'll talk about.
No,
that was a fun interaction.
JBL
yeah,
more iconic. But So yeah, I'm not a fan of the champion versus champions, and like you said, all storylines had to go on to pause. But I know we're kind of I'm jumping the gun here, but we need to talk about this now. This is something I didn't even know. So the big women's angle on Raw has been Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. They've been slowly building towards Rhea Ripley winning the women's championship back, but lo and behold, Rhea Ripley is fucking injured again.
Yep. Fractured orbital bone.
Yeah. Fractured orbital bone, which I think they played off brilliantly on TV. Rhea Ripley made a surprise appearance on NXT a couple weeks ago, and she left in a pool of her own blood because Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez followed her to NXT and beat her up in the parking lot, aka the most dangerous place in WWE. And now we don't know when Ripley's coming back, and this just screams the question: how long do you have Morgan hold on to this title before you just go, hey, we can't wait forever for Rhea Ripley to come back? Like, don't get me wrong, I think Liv Morgan is an excellent champion right now, considering her booking, but Liv Morgan is the champion that you want to see lose the championship to a very deserving babyface, and the number one babyface is on the shelf now. I guess this is what happens when you don't book other better women's stars.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting to a point where I'm almost like, you might as well bring Becky Lynch back from vacation early and have her take the title off Liv Morgan, but I don't want them to do that. I want Becky to enjoy her time as a mom.
They technically can't even do that because Becky Lynch is not signed to a deal.
Right.
She is technically a free agent. I'm sure she's signed with WWE, but she's just like, let me be unsigned for a bit without that shackle of they can make me come back to work whenever they want.
Right, yeah. But again, we may be jumping the gun a little bit, but well wishes going out to Rhea Ripley in her recovery. But we focus now. Crown Jewel 2024. 7 matches on this card, which is very uncharacteristic of Triple H to be booking 7 matches on a pay-per-view that's not SummerSlam or WrestleMania. But here we are. The Saudis are getting another big pay-per-view, the 12th time we have a pay-per-view in this country. But we open up big. Yeah, go ahead.
Like 6 or 7 years old.
I can't. It's making me feel old. It's making me feel really old now.
Credit where credit is due. They brought the noise to the show. This may have been the energetic Saudi crowd we've gotten, like, probably since this deal was first struck.
Yes. Oh, big time.
First match is a huge example of that.
Whoo, man, and we start off big with probably one of the greatest storylines WWE has ever produced in the continuation. I don't know what fucking inning we're in at this point. It is the team of Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, and Jey Uso going up against the new Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu. What's up?
My ADHD, my OCD is burning right now.
Why?
I know Jacob Fatu is the star, but
he is.
Tonga Loa are the tag team.
Yeah, poor Camacho being stuck on the outside. You know,
I get it. You want Jacob Fatu in the match, but just part of me, it just tears me up inside that it wasn't Roman Reigns and the Usos versus God and Solo Sikoa. I know I'm the only person on the planet that wished that, but because here's the thing.
Listen,
I want God versus the Usos. That's going to be a banger tag team match.
Yeah,
but,
and
I know it's like
something else we need to talk about in regards to this build and how we got here. Roman Reigns is slowly starting to get his tribe back. Ever since he returned at SummerSlam, he was a chief without a tribe. And at, what was it? It was, whatever the fuck the last... Bad Blood. Thank you. Yeah. Jimmy Uso makes his triumphant return to a huge pop, helps Roman and Cody Rhodes win the tag team match in the main event. Jimmy is once again Roman's main cuckboy, and we get the big reunion between the Usos, but not before. Not before. You might also notice that the Guerrillas of Destiny are no longer the WWE Tag Team Champions because they lost the titles to Tomas's boys, the damn Motor City Machine Guns. I'm so fucking happy they're in this company.
Basically a trade-off.
Yes.
The Bloodline cost Jey Uso the Intercontinental Championship to Braun Breaker, which was the right move. I will stand by that.
Mm-hmm.
And Jey Uso basically got his revenge by costing God the tag team titles to the Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, which that was their third match in the company. When the Guns debuted on SmackDown and they were a part of this tag team tournament, the first thing I thought was, you have to put the titles on these guys. And I know this may sound hypocritical when we talk about, a team or a star comes in, you're going to immediately put them in a championship match. But you look at the stature of the Guns and you look at the stature of the WWE Tag Team division. What else are you going to do with them? They debuted as the team. Everybody knows them as the Guns. Yes, Shelly and Sabin are both world champions in their own right, but I'm sorry, you can't put Chris Sabin in a world title match and expect people to care. It's the unit we care about. And if you don't put the titles on them, I don't know what you do with the Guns, because they came straight up to the main roster. And I don't think that was WWE's plan. I think the plan was to have the Guns go to NXT and have the Lucha Bros debut on the main roster.
No.
The asshole decided to hold Rey Fenix's contract and add on time due to injury, so we're not getting the Luchas anytime soon. So
I'm still first of all, I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm so pissed at you, Tony Khan, for not giving us the Lucha Brothers in WWE. I mean, I get it in a business sense. You don't want them to go to the competition, but it's just a dick move. If they don't want to be there, let them fucking go.
And Tony Khan originally wasn't going to do this. He was going to let Penta and Fenix out on their contracts, but he was like, no, I'm going to be an asshole and hold these guys hostage.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. He found out the deal. Like, Penta had revealed that he would not sign with WWE unless Fenix was with them. They're a package deal.
Yeah, they're a tag team. Yeah,
Tony Khan said, fuck you. If you're going to try and leave with your brother, then you can't leave without your brother. And
I disagree with the notion that the original plan was for the Lucha Brothers to be in the spot that the Guns are in right now, because the Guns are ultimately one of the greatest tag teams, I think, ever in mainstream wrestling. Like, you know, especially as you go into the new millennium, Sabin and Shelly together as a unit, and like both of them on their own are great, but them together, their entrance now, you couldn't have put the titles, you couldn't have not put the titles on those guys like immediately.
Just saying, I don't think them going to NXT would have been a bad idea per se.
No, but I feel like, you know, it's a tough call. But I think with the story,
because number one, the last thing I'm going to say about it is I'm scared about their ceiling right now. SmackDown is a small show with a small roster with a small tag team division. I just hope they don't hit their ceiling too fast.
The story they're cooking up with them and DIY right now is pretty compelling. And your next step, Hunter, put that fucking match on pay-per-view, please. Like, I'm begging you. Put the Guns, put DIY on a pay-per-view and let them go fucking bonkers. I'm begging you here.
Back to the Bloodline.
Yeah.
You already know what I don't like about this build. You already know what I don't like about this build.
Well, what don't you like about it? Tell me.
Constant show jumping with no explanation whatsoever.
Well, you couldn't have done the reunion of the Bloodline without Jey Uso coming over to SmackDown for a cup of coffee.
Then they should be, well, okay, you want to jump in time a little bit? The build to War Games? There is no reason for Jey Uso and Sami Zayn to be on SmackDown right now.
Well, Roman Reigns needs some help, right?
Well, I know, but they're not on the same fucking show. I know.
Because Roman's desperate. Roman's desperate.
My thought process doesn't make a lot of sense, and there's no way to do this storyline without doing this. I just don't like it. And their on-screen reasoning is very lazy, because every time this happens, the commentators just say, oh, Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce had an agreement to let them go to the other show. I'm like, okay, so they can just agree whenever they want?
It's the wild card rule all over again, isn't it?
It sure fucking feels like it, because, you know, if Pierce and Aldis are going to have this relationship, they got to start doing, hey, yeah, you can do this, but in return, you got to give me this. And they never do that.
Yeah. But you got to admit, though, that embrace between Jay and Jimmy on SmackDown, you couldn't help but tear up at that. Like, sure, you couldn't help it.
Sure.
It was fucking awesome. And the crowd popped for it. One of the greatest tag teams of all time coming back together after, and it's almost like the Dudley Boys coming back together after they inexplicably split in our childhood. It just brought back some memories.
The difference there is that Vince was like, I fucked up. These guys don't stand well on their own.
So the difference is Devon was on SmackDown before, and Devon then fucking stayed on Raw after that reunion. So after Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso take 7 years to get down to the ring, Jey Uso actually does get his own entrance in the crowd, and he takes about 7 years to get down to the ring. Like, I swear to God, it takes about half an hour before the first bell rings on this show. This is a long show.
I timed it. By the time the show started, we got our opening shot of the crowd. We got the wrestlers entering the arena. We got the opening hype package. We got the intro to the pay-per-view. We had Roman Reigns' entrance. We had Jimmy Uso's entrance. We had the Bloodline's entrance. We had Jey Uso's entrance. It was 22 minutes in the show before the initial lockup between Jimmy Uso and Tama Tonga.
Ridiculous, man.
Shit. But cannot say Jey Uso isn't fucking over because he was the most over motherfucker of the night. And he was
Yeet! Yeet! Of course. Of course.
This is proof that right now, Jey Uso does not need to hold a title to prove that he's over. And I was one of the only people to go, hello, what are we doing here? You're really going to halt Braun Breaker's momentum just because Daddy Uso is mad that his son doesn't have a championship?
Daddy Uso.
Popularity. Papa Uso, is that better? I think Jay's popularity on his own, this moment right here should be enough to go like, he's going to be a champion, but he doesn't have to be a champion right now. And was it worth the 6-week Intercontinental title reign? Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Not really.
I thought it was a good moment. It was a good match when he won the belt from Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker winning the title back. I mean, you don't need, like... That's another thing. I know you love these long title reigns, Tomas, but not every title reign needs to be fucking 5 years, you know,
and
in order to be legitimate.
I wanted Braun Breaker's first reign to be dominant, and it didn't feel dominant. Now
that's why this second reign he's going to be fucking dominant now. You know, that's what this reign is for.
Said, you know, Jay actually has a reason to be teaming up with his brother and his cousin once again. I thought this match was fun.
It was really good. It was solid.
Little thrown together. I'm actually surprised this match took place on this pay-per-view, which basically it was thrown on the show, on the Go Home show, which was a tape show. So I was a little surprised, but all things considered, it went 19 minutes, and I thought all 6 guys had great chemistry.
Why? I have a question. How come, aside from Solo Sikoa, the new Bloodline is just so unserious? Like, how come Jacob Fatu is dancing to Solo Sikoa's entrance, like, every single time? How
come? Do it so subtly, and
yeah.
I'm going to stop you there and say Solo Sikoa is very unserious, too. You should
see
this guy when the cameras aren't on. He fucks with the crowd so much.
Oh, great.
He has so much charisma that he just doesn't show on TV.
He should be that on TV, then. How about that?
Yeah.
I think he's just too busy being the next iteration of Taz to really show that personality. But Jacob Fatu also on the apron yelling, "I love you, Solo! I love you, Solo!"
That's become his gimmick. He's become a meme, which I think is just fucking great.
Good for Jacob Fatu. Keep making the Bay Area proud, man.
You got Jacob Fatu yelling that he loves Solo. You got Tama Tonga going, yeah.
He did that while he was getting the freaking heat on Jay, too.
You know, I do appreciate that they refuse to be henchmen number 1 and henchmen number 2. Like, they have some personality to them. I think that's great.
I love it.
So the opening story, like, of this match was, you know, Jey Uso starts off, and he trusts his brother Jimmy, but he refuses to tag Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns is not happy about this. Jimmy feels really caught in the middle, that, you know, he's the right-hand man to the tribal chief, but he just made amends with his brother, and he's trying to keep it all together.
Yeah.
But Reigns, they're still not on the same page here. You got to understand.
Of course not.
The pure mental and physical torture that Roman Reigns has put Jey Uso through for the past 4 years, to the point where Jey Uso went to the other show just to get away from him.
Yeah, with all that history there, of course they can't easily forgive each other. Of course there has to be tension in the early going. That's what's going to make the eventual, like, embrace between those guys and eventually someone else who joins the party so cathartic. Jey Uso, his condition for being on Roman's team here is for Roman to treat him like an equal. And I think that is extremely smart. Main event Jey Uso comes in and he can't be anybody's right-hand man anymore. He's nobody's bitch.
Can we talk about the body language of Roman Reigns and how it speaks of volumes when he's in this match? Like, yeah, he'll be standing on the apron and his body language just tells it tells 1,000 volumes of a story without him saying a single word. And like just alluded to, Jay goes for the tag and he tags Jimmy instead of Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns is baffled. Like, come on, man, you can't even tag me? And that's when, you know, the bickering starts. And that's the weakness to the original Bloodline. you got to give the new Bloodline credit. They do, they work like a well-oiled machine. And they showed that in the beginning parts of this match.
You will acknowledge me, son. Roman is, even though he's a white meat babyface now, he is still a smug sumbitch.
Yes.
That's for damn sure.
And then the story on the other side of the field, it's pretty obvious. Why should we take Solo Sikoa seriously when he lost to Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam, he lost to Cody Rhodes in the steel cage, he lost to Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes at Bad Blood? Every time he gets to the ring with Roman Reigns, he gets absolutely steamrolled, and the only reason why he has the Ula Fala is through sheer divine, sheer
circumstance.
Circumstance.
Yeah.
As divine luck, he still has the Ula Fala when Roman Reigns can easily steamroll through this guy and take it back whenever he wants.
He got the Ula Fala basically by default after Roman Reigns lost the undisputed title at WrestleMania.
But, he's being shielded by plot armor right now, so that's the only reason why he still got it.
So Roman eventually gets this hot tag, right? And it's him and Solo going head to head. It's like Simba and Scar battling on Pride Rock, except not as cool.
I'm ready for the one-on-one. I think it's going to be a good match.
I think so too. I think
these two could have a really good match together.
I think, you obviously are going to have War Games here as your next chapter, but I think you could do the Roman and Solo one-on-one match either at Saturday night's main event, or hell, maybe even at the Royal Rumble. If Roman's not going to be in the Rumble match itself, like Roman and Solo one-on-one at one of those two PLEs, yeah, I think that could work really well.
Tribal Combat?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything goes. Yeah, absolutely.
Here's the thing. If you're going to do Tribal Combat again, you better fucking implement the rule that the Bloodline cannot interfere.
Right.
The Samoan elders.
Yeah, you need to distinguish Tribal Combat and Bloodline rules.
Yes.
You really need to distinguish between those two, because right now there's no difference.
I think that's such a great plot element that they refuse to just implement. Like a one-on-one combat match between the two, and they say, no one's allowed to get involved.
Exactly. It's, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But Roman's a house of fire. He hits the orange punch on Solo for some reason.
Superman
Solo hits one Samoan spike, and there's a near fall there because Jimmy made the save, albeit very late. Jimmy definitely missed his cue there. I was like, Solo should have just pinned Roman. Like, the referee should have just counted 3.
It didn't look so obvious to the point that my suspension of disbelief can look at it as he barely fucking made it.
Barely.
It wasn't as bad as other botched breakups, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Jay Uso, this is just, the end of this match is just typical 6-man tag team match chaos. Jay going for a suicide dive, for example, and Jacob Fatu catching him with a super kick. There is a ref bump. Roman Reigns pulls Tama Tonga into the ring, and Tama Tonga eventually knocks the ref down. Jacob Fatu with a headbutt on Reigns, and then his fucking awesome moonsault that he does. Again, this guy is top tier. Again, when WWE signed him, I was like, this company ain't ready for how fucking awesome he is.
It's like, we have the trope of the big man shouldn't be able to do that. But here you look at it, he does it so smoothly.
Yeah.
He literally jumps to the top rope with such ease, like Shelton Benjamin style, and hits one of the best moonsaults.
One of the best moonsaults in the industry.
Christopher Daniels and Tiffany Stratton may have the prettiest and the best moonsaults ever, but Jacob Fatu, you got to put him in the top 5.
Yeah.
It's a damn good moonsault.
Big time. And Reigns is down and out. Fatu, while he says, I love you, Solo, he picks up Roman and 2 more Samoan spikes. Solo Sikoa pins Roman Reigns clean in the middle of the ring, and the new Bloodline goes over in this chapter. This is what I've been talking about for almost a fucking year now. If you want to make Solo Sikoa as legitimate of a threat as WWE wants him to be, then this is exactly what you got to do. Not just one time, but continuously. Solo cannot be booked like a loser. And I mean, I know Michael Cole went through a list of his victims: John Cena last year, Crown Jewel, AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, Sheamus, I think was in there. I fucking forgot about the last 3 though. No, LA Knight doesn't count. LA Knight beat Solo easily at the house show I went to earlier this year. Easily.
But
LA Knight doesn't count. Yeah, no, LA Knight doesn't count. He always beats Solo Sikoa, but it's you get what I'm saying though.
Oh
Like
yeah,
Solo
100%.
Sikoa is not a legitimate threat because he's been portrayed like such a loser. Aside from him beating John Cena last year.
With that being said, I guess it's a bad thing that this came as a legitimate shock to me. I did pick the new Bloodline to win this match. I sure as hell didn't pick Solo Sikoa to pin Roman Reigns.
Oh yeah, no, the new Bloodline had to win this match because if you have the OG Bloodline go over here, there's no reason to have a War Games match at Survivor Series. Absolutely no reason.
I'm gonna give the match 3.25 stars. For being a 6-man tag, I thought everything in the middle was pretty standard. I think it was the beginning and the chaotic, dramatic finish that made the match really fun for me. It wasn't the greatest 6-man of all time, but I choose to look at the matches on this pay-per-view with the glass half full because I've watched a few reviews where people were saying like, oh, well, this and this wasn't that great. And that was like, well, it wasn't bad. That's the thing.
No way.
Mess.
I've seen 6-man tag matches way worse than this and way more boring. I actually gave it 3.5 stars because I definitely thought the crowd was super hot. It was a super fun opener. Really cool to see Roman Reigns in the ring again. The botch by Jimmy Uso is a bit inexcusable in my opinion, but other than that, I mean, I thought it was really solid all the way through. Jacob Fatu looks like a fucking monster. Solo Sikoa pinning Roman Reigns in the middle of the ring is exactly what he needed to advance this story. But we're not done. We're not done with this, are we?
Aftermath that really puts things into perspective here. So the new Bloodline continues to beat down on the Roman Reigns. The Usos come in to try to save, but the new Bloodline starts to beat them down. Then emerges Sami Zayn. Sami Uso.
Yes, Sami Uso. The honorary Us comes out.
So Sami Zayn comes out to a huge pop because, this is kind of his turf.
Mm-hmm.
He comes down, and, this is part of the story that I kind of don't like.
Why?
They're trying to tease. Hold on. They're trying to tease that Sami Zayn's part of the new Bloodline, and I kind of sit there going, why? Why would Sami Zayn be part of the new Bloodline? He's kind of proven that he's a white meat babyface, and Jey Uso is his boy, and I think his bond and his friendship with Jey Uso was so strong that he's not going to turn his back on Jey like that. So when they were teasing like Solo Sikoa welcoming Sami Zayn with open arms to have the big turn that Zayn was against the new Bloodline, it just felt unnecessary to me. Yeah, sure, you could definitely go with Sami Zayn doesn't trust Roman Reigns. He sure as hell doesn't trust Jimmy Uso. But the bond between him and Jey is so strong that I don't think it's not believable that Sami Zayn would turn his back to join the new Bloodline. Like,
yeah, because him and Solo Sikoa really didn't have any trouble with each other like in the OG Bloodline, but no, honestly,
it's more like Sami Zayn, I'm going to team with the devil that I know opposed to the devil that I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't mind this wrinkle in the story as much, but it's almost like, you remember back on the road to WrestleMania when Seth Rollins came out and insisted on Cody challenging him for the World Heavyweight Championship because you had to have some semblance of unpredictability over there. That's kind of what this reminds me of. Like, I appreciate the effort in order to try and throw a red herring at us, but I mean, this is Sami Uso we're talking about. I knew that he was going to join the original Bloodline in some capacity, and that's why I was so damn excited to see Sami Zayn reinserted into this thing. Because
so Sami Zayn, he's with the OG Bloodline. They get the jump on the new Bloodline. They clear the ring, and this was such a cool shot because Solo Sikoa, he starts standing up, and in each corner is a member of the OG Bloodline, and it's like, pick your poison. Do you want a double super Us kick? Do you want a spear? Or do you want a haluva kick? So they set up. Sami Zayn goes for the haluva kick. Sikoa ducks, and he nails Roman Reigns with the hell of a kick. And there's
I was waiting for that.
Did Sami Zayn do it on purpose?
No way.
Sami Zayn kick Roman Reigns. I'm so fucking tired of that trope.
Yeah, but
there's this thing called video replay.
Yes.
You can't just look up at the screen or just go into Gorilla, go up to Triple H and be like, hey, run that back. Fucking run that back and show Roman Reigns that I didn't kick him on purpose.
Definitely an accident. Definitely an accident.
It's like, how many times does this need to happen for wrestlers to go, let me look at the footage. Oh, he didn't do that on purpose. Let's move past it.
Sami Zayn, again, reinserting him, I was so damn excited to see it again because, again, fast forwarding to SmackDown, that opening segment where Sami Zayn is asking Roman to apologize to him, Roman looks at him baffled and he's like, I think you're the one that should be apologizing to me. Because you remember Sammy was the one that stabbed Roman in the back at the Royal Rumble. He nailed him with that chair. Sammy should definitely be the one to apologize. But Sammy's sitting there and he's like, it could be like the old times. We could be on the bus again. And Roman, I think you love me. You're smirking. I see it. I see it. You can't deny it. You love me, Roman.
You know, I love to the bottom of my heart, ultimate underdog from the underground, battling against Gunther and Braun Breaker, Sami Zayn. But you got to admit, this lovable, comedic, like the Sami Zayn we had in the Bloodline is easily the best version of Sami Zayn we're ever going to have. Yes. And the fact that we're going back to that brings me so much joy, even though he's on the wrong fucking show.
It was definitely peak Bloodline when Sammy Uso was involved. And let's just say I can't wait for War Games. I can't wait for Survivor Series. And I can't wait to see the next chapter, if you will. But with that in mind, we got some more, we got some titles to be defended here too, don't we?
That was one hell of an opening. And considering what follows after this, you would think this would be like the cool down match. But I have to disagree with that. I thought this was a very fun match considering what it was. And when you look at the field from here, after I announce it, I didn't realize this until I was watching the match. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are defending the WWE Women's Tag Team titles against Damage Control, Kairi Sane and Io Sky, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, and NXT's Metaphor, Lash Legend and Jakarta Jackson. Look at this field. You have one team from Raw, one team from SmackDown, and one team from NXT, all challenging for the tag team titles. That's cool as fuck.
It is really awesome. Yeah, that's one case where you actually don't mind the brand lines being jumped.
The women's tag team titles are allowed to be defended on all the brands. So as long as the champions are the ones doing the jumping and not the challengers, then I'm okay with that. So Jakarta Jackson and Lash Legend have kind of been, this is kind of their audition for the main roster. If you haven't been keeping it with NXT, they are part of a faction called Metaphor in NXT, which Scottish Supernova, Noam Dar, and the other guy whose name I can't fucking remember. I'm sorry. I really like him too, and I can't remember his name. It was your standard run-of-the-mill faction, nothing special about it. But you know what? Since Jackson and Legend have been on the main roster, they've been proving themselves very good.
Yeah.
And I like the direction that they're going with these two. And this was basically, you know, each team from each brand is challenging for the titles. You know, we've seen a lot of these multi-women tag team matches, especially with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. And they've been kind of sloppy, to say the least, with their good spots. I thought this was very fun. You have the combination of Belair and Cargill are a great unit, the high-flying styles of Damage Control, the strength and power of Metaphor, and the sheer comedic timing of Green and Niven, which was the highlight of the match for me. I thought this match was very fun.
It was. But you know what my main issue was? Why are these idiots tagging in and out? This is no disqualification, though. Who's to stop
two legal people?
Who's to stop like Io Sky coming in while Bianca and Chelsea are wrestling, and then the referee is supposed to say, "Hey, you can't do that." But then Io looks and she's like, "Oh yeah, this is no disqualification, though."
You have to have two legal people because you can't have everybody in there trying to pin each other.
Well, sure you can. It would make more sense.
Try keeping track of that.
I mean, I kept track of it in Just Bring It just fine. SmackDown Just Bring It was allowed to have 8 people in the ring at once. I kept track of it.
Well, you probably had tornado rules on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all you could do is tornado rules because you can't have no DQ. You can't have a DQ in a fatal 4-way.
I mean, you could.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't remember a lot of spots in this match considering the pay-per-view is a week old, but I'm going to talk about my favorite spot of the match, and it involves Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. So Green and Niven are on the offense. And their plan is to, Piper Niven is going to do a splash from the top rope to Io Sky or Bianca Belair, I think it is. Mm-hmm. They reverse it and they put Green in the way. And Green is going, no, don't do it. And Niven hits the bomb onto Green. And Niven gets up and she starts celebrating like she did it. And she looks over and she realized she just squashed her tag team partner. This team is one of the greatest accidents to ever happen.
I fucking love it. I fucking love this team. Chelsea Green was teaming up with, who was it? I think it was Sonya Deville when we went to WrestleMania in that like weird Fatal 4-Way match on WrestleMania Sunday.
Well, here's the thing. Chelsea Green's original partner was Carmelo, which I still want to see that team, but we got Piper Niven out of it, and this is one of the best acts on SmackDown.
It is. It is. I am 100% with you on that.
So
and I'll also hold up. Can I shout out Mike Rome real quick for attempting to do the Samantha Irving Chelsea Green during the introduction?
Alicia Taylor tried to too, and I have a favor to ask the ring announcers.
Yeah.
Please stop, because it hurts too much.
It hurts because we missed Samantha Irving. Cheers. Yeah. But
I'm gonna quote tweet a tweet from Steph Deander from TNA. She tweeted during Crown Jewel to say, Chelsea Green is the prime example of how to fucking get over.
Yeah. Well, now with a Women's United States Championship that's been announced for the main roster, there is no reason to not put that title on Chelsea Green and start a push for her. There's no reason to not do it.
She re-debuted in WWE. You knew that, yeah, she's probably not going to be world championship material, but I think she is. But she is just so consistent in the ring, and she gets comedy, and she gets her place in the business, that she never needs to hold a title to be successful. And now I'm really sad that we're never going to see the team of Chelsea Green and Billie Kay.
She is also super endearing to the fans in a way, and she has found a way to get herself over with these people organically. You know what she almost reminds me of? A female Zack Ryder. That's what she reminds me of. You know? Like, because you remember Zack Ryder back in like the early 2010s and how he got over, but Zack Ryder was never going to be a world champion. Never. I'm just saying.
Low-hanging fruit there, buddy.
I know.
Very, very, very low-hanging fruit. That's what
Did you like that?
Thanks. Seth Rollins involved reminds me of a male Becky Lynch.
Yeah, exactly. Just like Kalani Jordan reminds me of a female Carmelo Hayes, right?
That's racist.
That's not meant to be racist. I didn't mean that, but yeah. So Jade Cargill is the one who makes the hot tag, and she hits the Jaded on Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green is one of the best sellers in the entire women's locker room. I am convinced of that. Niven Michinoku driver here and there. I mean, everybody's just getting their shit in. Everybody's getting their shit in closer to the end of the match. Piper Niven goes up to the top rope. Jade Cargill has Niven on her shoulders, and Jade is not even breaking a sweat here. She is picking up Piper Niven with the greatest of ease. Jade Cargill is a stud. Bianca Belair, who has felt the most unimportant in her entire career at this point, is up on the top rope, hits the Doomsday device, and pins Piper Niven to retain the titles. This was fun. I'm going to go 3 1/4.
I'm going to match your 3 1/4. Again, I didn't really think much of this match, but it ended up being a really good time. And again, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill have great chemistry. Damage control brings the high-flying style. Lash legend Jakarta Jackson, not slouches in this match whatsoever. They proved that they're kind of here to stay. And again, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, they brought the comedy to this match, and it worked out perfectly.
Absolutely.
Here's the thing about comedy wrestling. It borders a line between this is great and this is fucking stupid. I think Chelsea Green is that perfect balance of she's funny, but she's also a damn good wrestler, and she's not going to waste all of her spots on comedy.
That is why I am advocating for her to be the women's U.S. champion at some point or another.
I'll give you a perfect example. Joey Ryan's a fucking idiot. Yeah, he got over with his King of Dong style. I've watched so many of his matches. You know how many of those matches he actually did a fucking wrestling move in? Almost none of them. Chelsea Green can wrestle. Chelsea Green can put on a good match and still be funny. And if there's people that don't think Chelsea Green can wrestle, I want you to take a trip to a thing called Lucha Underground and watch Reclusa versus Pentagon in a fucking Aztec War match.
Yeah.
And watch that match and then tell me again that Chelsea Green can't wrestle.
Chelsea Green is also hardcore, man. She is one tough cookie. She takes a spot in a dumpster match. She loses a dumpster match to Mi Chin. She takes that crazy-ass bump in the Money in the Bank ladder match earlier this year, which I'm sure some of you have forgotten already, you idiots. But yeah.
I want to meet her.
I do too. I do too. Yeah, let's book it. WrestleMania 41, huh? But yeah,
I just gotta sell an arm and a leg to get a ticket, and I'll be good.
WWE, gotta lower those ticket prices, man. That's ridiculous. But anyway, up next, that's a bridge we'll cross when we get there. Up next, we have Seth Freakin Rollins versus Big Bronson Reed 1-on-1. And boy, howdy, how do we get here? What's up?
What's so big about Bronson Reed?
I mean, look at him. He's fat. I mean, he's a big, thick boy.
So,
you know?
As you recalled, 2 nights after SummerSlam, Seth Rollins was taken out by Big Bronson Reed after taking 7 tsunami splashes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
To the ribs of Seth Rollins. Big Bronson Reed went on this huge tear afterward. He injured The Miz. Yes.
That is how you make a star in one night. Because Bronson Reed, like, ever since he returned to WWE like a year or two ago, he's been kind of, I don't want to say he's been stuck in the mid-card. He's won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal this year, but again, that's not really saying a whole lot. I mean, look at everybody who's won that Battle Royal. But in any case, Bronson Reed goes out there and in one night, delivering 6 or 7 tsunamis in a row to Seth Rollins, putting him on the shelf shortly after SummerSlam. Like, that is how you make Bronson Reed look like a killer, you know? And Seth Rollins comes out. Bronson Reed's been tangling it up with Braun Strowman. When's the last time we talked about him?
I was going to get to that because he takes out The Miz. No, he takes out R-Truth. And when he's about to take out The Miz, Braun Strowman comes out for the save. And these two, 3 weeks in a row, have the best big man brawls I've ever seen in my life, culminating in a last monster standing match where they broke the fucking ring. But at the end of that match, Seth Rollins made his triumphant return, curb stomped Bronson Reed into the steel steps to help Strowman get the victory. And here's the big story. Rollins wants Reed. Reed wants Rollins. Adam Pearce won't let it happen because of the collateral damage. But it gets so bad one night that Adam Pearce says, you know what, you selfish bastards? You don't have to tear up my arena to get your match. You got your match. And the story going into it is it smart for Seth Rollins to fight Bronson Reed when he's been so banged up after the past year? Is it smart to take on the monster, this Godzilla-like Japanese movie monster, whose sole purpose is to hurt people so he can make money?
Bronson Reed's gimmick right now is that he's a kaiju. You know, that's what he is. So, and Seth actually, during Bronson Reed's entrance, Seth makes a beeline for Bronson Reed and starts attacking him because Seth made his way out to the ring first. They start brawling out at ringside. I don't think Seth hit the curb stomp early on, but...
No, Bronson Reed hit a big tsunami splash in the beginning, and before he could capitalize for the pin, Seth Rollins countered with the curb stomp, and that's probably my biggest...
That is such a huge issue. That is such a huge issue because the first time Seth Rollins gets hit with that tsunami, he should have been fucking done. You know,
I don't want to say he should have been done. I think for the rest of the match, he should have sold the tsunami splash.
And Seth did not sell it. Seth didn't sell it. That's the issue.
If Bronson Reed is going to start off a match with a tsunami, then the rest of the match needs to be focused on those ribs.
Yep.
And Rollins needs to be selling the fuck out of it because 6 of those splashes took him out for 2 months. 1 should be able to slow him down for a bit, and that's the biggest issue I have with the match. Other than that, I don't want to call, I always say, oh, I love big versus little men matches. Seth Rollins is not a small person. He is 6 foot tall. Yeah, Bronson Reed is a hell of a lot girthier than he is, but I still think they played off of that chemistry well in this match. I did like this match a lot. Considering the booking and considering the finish, I still thought it was a fun match.
It was pretty good. You know what? This is going to be a flex of a reference here, but this match honestly took me back to the year 2000, a show I owned on tape, and I watched it a bunch of times. I remember The Rock versus Rikishi on that show. And this is where they turned Rikishi heel as the guy that ran down Stone Cold Steve Austin. They were trying to turn Rikishi. He's a bad man doing bad things. And they were trying to make him look like a killer with that bonsai drop using Triple H's sledgehammer as well. And The Rock comes out, sprints to the ring, and they start getting into a big old tussle. Rikishi lost that match, similarly to how Bronson Reed also lost this match. But then afterwards, Rikishi hit Rock with like 4 or 5 bonsai drops in a row. And it still kind of made Rikishi look like a killer. But, I mean, in hindsight, Rikishi should have won that match. Totally 100%. If you wanted to make him look like a monster, that's how you make a star in one night, putting him over the Rock. And similarly, I think Bronson Reed should have won this match. Seth Rollins should not have beaten him, but I understand
I'm gonna
why
get into my thoughts about that after we talk about the finish.
I understand why Seth did, but yeah, Reed and Rollins start brawling on the outside. They're tearing apart the announce table. Seth ends up hitting a curb stomp on the steel steps, which is a direct callback to the last Monster Standing match and how that ended. Reed with a nasty gash on his eyebrow right there too, which he carries. Yeah. Which he carries with him for the next couple of minutes until the ending. Rollins then goes up and hits a super curb stomp from the top, because that's how you beat a big monster, is, you do an avalanche version of your finishing maneuver.
But right before he does that, he looks at Bronson Reed and says, "You should have finished me when you had the chance." Probably, people were saying, "Oh, that's when Reed hit the 6 tsunamis to kick off the feud." No, I think that's refuting to the beginning of the match. Because Corey Graves is saying on commentary, Bronson Reed should have went for the pin.
Yeah, he really should have. Reed shouldn't have gone for more punishment, but that ended up being his downfall. Seth Rollins gets the pinfall. I disagree with it, but again, it's like Seth Rollins hasn't won a pay-per-view match in 18 months?
So when I saw that, and I did predict Rollins to win the match, considering...
Really?
Even though Bronson Reed has so much momentum right now and you don't want to cut it off, that's the biggest issue with Bronson Reed's booking. Once he starts building momentum, something cuts it off. Hell, I even think losing the last Monster Standing match kind of stunted his momentum just a little. But here's the thing. I predicted Rollins to win because look at Rollins' track record this year. Yeah, he was the World Heavyweight Champion in the beginning, but then he lost to Drew McIntyre. And then he and Cody Rhodes lost to The Rock and Roman Reigns. Then he took some time off. Then, yeah, he didn't take the pin, but he didn't walk out of Money in the Bank with the World Heavyweight Championship. And he was a referee at SummerSlam. He hasn't had the best record. And considering the status of the star Seth Rollins is, he needed one big pay-per-view win. And I was okay with sacrificing this to get him back on track, because Bronson Reed can easily get his win back. He can easily win the feud. And he proved that when he absolutely, number one, not only cost Seth Rollins a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship, he put his ass down through that announce table.
Yeah, maybe add some sort of stipulation for the rematch at Survivor Series or Saturday Night's Main Event. Maybe false count anywhere, just throwing an option out there. I think that would be a really fun way to have Bronson Reed jump off something tall and hit Seth with a tsunami that way. I think that would be freaking awesome. But again, just throwing ideas out there, just spitballing.
We'll see Seth Rollins for a year, because he'll be dead.
He would be dead, wouldn't he?
You know what? 3.5 stars.
Yeah, you know what? I think in a vacuum, I would say 3.5 stars. But I think when I'm really thinking about it, I'm leaning more towards like 3.3. I don't know. I don't know.
3.5 because I love Seth Rollins. I love Bronson Reed. I thought they had good chemistry, and they really did give the vibe of the big man versus little man, even though Rollins isn't a little guy.
No, he's not. Seth looks good. Reed looks like a monster even in defeat. He stands up after the super curb stomp, and he's like, "You can't keep me down, boy." And Rollins is looking down and looking up at this kaiju monster still standing. He's like, "What do I got to do to put you down? What do I got to do to put you down, motherfucker?"
So I do predict Bronson Reed not only to get his win back, but to win the feud.
He better win the feud. So. He better win the feud, because if he doesn't win the feud, he's not a legit world heavyweight title contender, in my opinion.
I just had a random thought. You know what match I want to see?
What's that?
Bronson Reed versus CM Punk.
Oh, you want Punk to get killed?
No, I don't.
I mean that's what Punk versus Gunther is for.
No, that Punk and Gunther is going to be Punk's funeral. I don't think Reed is going to put him down that hard. So that was a random thought that I had.
Man.
Next. Oh boy. It's one of the matches that gave me so much anxiety going into the show. For the first time ever, for the Women's Crown Jewel Championship, Women's World Champion Liv Morgan from Raw taking on WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax from SmackDown. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I was not paying attention to this match.
This match sucked. This match sucked.
Dog sitting for a friend who was returning that night, so I had to clean up the house, and I was getting ready for my good friend's baby shower. So I had to pick one match to start getting ready, and I chose this one. And by the time I was done,
you picked.
This went 8 minutes.
You picked wisely. You picked wisely because this match was not good. And here, let me just tell you this much: this is not on the fault of Liv Morgan at all. It's not even the fault of Nia Jax at all. And I've had my fair share to say about Nia Jax. I've had my criticisms about her, but she is definitely improving. She still has not injured anybody since she's come back. But
I'll stop you right there real quick.
Yeah?
This match would have been good if neither of them were world champion. If this was just a match where they didn't have to book around the fact that they're both fucking world champions, this match would have been good.
And they're both heels. That's my big problem. This crowd had nobody to root for. And they had no investment whatsoever, unless a certain someone came out and cashed in her contract, which she attempted to do. But I'm really starting to kind of get a little bit... It's starting to become a bit of a chore, seeing this tease every fucking show.
And you know why it's a chore? Because it's the same thing every single time. Tiffany Stratton runs to the ring. She's about to hand the briefcase to the referee. And Nia Jax stops, looks at her and says, "Hey, wait a minute. You said you weren't going to cash in on me."
No shit. No shit. Of course she's going to cash in on you.
How many times are you going to see this happen before you start to figure out, I don't know, she's lying to you?
And then Tiffy goes out there and she claims that she was going to cash in on Liv, which I'm like, no. I mean... There's no way. Again, you're trying to throw a red herring at me. No reason. Yeah, absolutely. Because Raquel Rodriguez...
Look at the writing on the wall. Tiffany Stratton has been attached to Nia Jax's hip like white on rice. Only for the reason that she's the women's champion. Why Nia Jax? And
then once she pins Nia Jax, she's going to become one of the hottest baby faces in the entire women's division. Really. Like, this crowd...
To be careful now. Because you're starting to teeter on the line of you might be starting to accidentally give Nia Jax babyface empathy. Because when more than on and Tiffany Stratton stabs her in the back, you actually might kind of feel bad for Nia Jax.
But listen, this crowd is so eager to cheer for Tiffany Stratton. There's no way that Hunter doesn't turn her babyface in this situation.
Yeah,
absolutely no way.
That's not the case, but you might just, I know, but just by kayfabe standards, you might accidentally give Nia Jax babyface empathy. The more you drag
But Raquel Rodriguez and Dirty Dominic Mysterio are there to thwart Tiffany's cash-in efforts. Liv jumped off the turnbuckle with a code breaker, which is probably the biggest move of the entire match. It's probably the coolest move of the entire match. Dominic sends the briefcase into the ring as a distraction, so Raquel kicks Nia Jax while she's on the turnbuckle. Dominic is distracting the referee, who is trying to get the briefcase out of there. Liv eventually hits Jax with an Oblivion somehow, and Liv Morgan pins Nia Jax to become the first ever Women's Crown Jewel champion, which has no bearing on storylines at all. It's just a Pro Bowl. Yeah.
Now, I understand that this championship may not mean a lot in the grand scheme of things.
Well, it doesn't.
Also, credit where credit is due. It took a lot of interference to put down Nia Jax, and this was WWE's way of still keeping Nia Jax strong, that it took 3 people to put her down. But this is where a little bit of, how do I want to say, a little bit of empathy is coming out for Liv Morgan. Because if you watch Liv Morgan here and at the end of the show and at the press conference afterward, she straight up breaks character and she starts crying. And it's because she has worked so hard to get to where she is. And the fact that she is being the first woman to be given this accolade of basically champion of champions on such a big stage, say everything and anything you want about the Crown Jewel Championship, and I will agree with it. But I couldn't help but look at that moment and go, you know what, Liv Morgan, you fucking deserve this. You went from somebody who was just another girl on NXT to being one of the most over acts on Monday Night Raw, and that's very admirable. And on top of that, on the press conference show, she told a great story about how she was heading to the arena, and she randomly found a cat.
Aww.
And she took the cat with her, and she has full intention on adopting this cat, if somebody doesn't adopt it. And if you were watching Monday Night Raw, Dominic and Liv Morgan brought the cat to the arena. So that was a fun story, like a happy accident kind of story.
That sounds like my girlfriend so much. That sounds like Lindsay. That she would do the same exact thing. But Liv gets this.
That back. Liv Morgan didn't need to take that cat.
No, she didn't. She didn't. She should have just given it to us. You know, I would have taken care of that cat. That's fine.
You would have went to Saudi Arabia to get. You know what? Imagine telling me that story. I went to Saudi Arabia to get a cat from Liv Morgan.
That's so random. Liv Morgan, yes. She is presented with this really hefty Crown Jewel Championship belt. She grabs it and she looks like she's about to fucking topple over because it's the exact same size as her. But yeah, you know, good for her. And she also probably won this match because Nia Jax won the Queen of the Ring tournament. So they probably didn't want to put Nia Jax over at 2 straight Saudi Super shows. But again, good for Liv Morgan, man. I've been advocating for a Liv Morgan push for the longest time, and I'm glad she's finally getting it and the recognition she deserves. This match was not good, though. It really wasn't. I'm gonna go with a 1.5 stars. It's not a good it's not even because, like, you know, the performers were bad, but the circumstance being heel versus heel gives you nobody to root for. But yeah, that's what I got here. And it's not a case where it's a heel versus heel match that is unplanned. This will be key when we talk about a certain SmackDown pay-per-view in our retrospective down the line. But they planned this. And they didn't have to. You know, they could have had, like, if Rhea Ripley, God forbid, didn't get hurt, yeah, it probably would have been Rhea Ripley in this match instead. But
I'm going to give an example of a match that was basically like this, that was heel versus heel, that actually worked. Bryan Danielson versus Brock Lesnar. And match worked because Bryan Danielson's cunning in that match was so clever that you wanted to root for him. Even though Danielson was very heelish in the match, you couldn't help but respect how cunning he was to be like, damn, I want to see Danielson pull this off, because if he does it, he fucking earned it.
Yeah.
Sheer wit. He's going to outsmart Brock Lesnar. Not with a surprise roll-up. He's going to make this motherfucker tap out.
Yep.
So you got to have some story in there to motivate us to at least want to see. And I thought they were going to do that with Liv Morgan, but apparently they didn't.
No. But Liv Morgan celebrates, and she ends up getting what looks like a Super Bowl ring after the fact, and the championship is going to stay under severe lock and key in Saudi Arabia with those same guys in the suits, I'm sure, watching over it 24/7. But yeah.
Please tell me every single week on Raw and SmackDown building this show, when they brought that Crown Jewel Championship out, the head security guard looked like Bobby Lashley. And I'd be watching the show out of the corner of my eye, and I'd be like, holy shit, Lashley? Oh no, it's not.
It's not. He's in AEW now. But anyway.
Tune in on Wednesdays if you want to see the Almighty now.
Yep. There you go. And stay tuned for our full gear review when you get Swerve Strickland versus Bobby Lashley, which is probably one of the matches I'm most looking forward to on the show, which isn't saying much. Yes, it is. Okay. Yes, it is. Okay. But anyway, up next, you want to talk about grudge matches? Here we got another one. Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. And oh man, Kevin Owens' heel turn has been so freaking compelling. I think aside from the Bloodline, this Kevin Owens storyline is probably the most interesting WWE has going on right now. Kevin Owens turned heel. He turned heel off camera, attacking Cody Rhodes in the parking lot after Bad Blood right in front of his bus, and we had to rely on the fan footage to see that heel turn from Kevin Owens. And since then...
Yeah, ever since Kevin Owens' name has been brought up on SmackDown, and the commentator's been like, oh, no, we're not allowed to talk about Owens. We're not allowed to talk about what he did to Cody Rhodes. Let's move on from it. Like, they're scared of Kevin Owens and what he's capable of. And Kevin Owens has been rebutting this by filming promos in his car. And this is something I want to bring up now. If you know something about Kevin Owens, it's his love and his respect for not only his friends, but for the legends in the business. You'll see some great Kevin Owens Easter eggs over the years. He'll be randomly wearing a Kofi Kingston shirt. He'll wear a Kevin Owens shirt. He'll wear a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt. He'll wear a Cody Rhodes shirt, a Sami Zayn shirt. And that's for tribute to his friends. And he'll have no rhyme or reason for doing this. Mm-hmm. But since he turned heel, look closely at this promo. Kevin Owens is wearing a Dusty Rhodes shirt. while cutting a promo
Yes.
on who turned on Cody Rhodes. And when he came out to the ring for this pay-per-view, he was wearing a Cowboy Bob Orton shirt.
Which it didn't register with me until I saw him wearing that shirt in the opening of the show, where you see the wrestlers walking in, and I see him wearing Cowboy Bob Orton, and I'm like, huh, that's random. Why is he wearing that?
No.
And then Randy Orton makes his entrance, and then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, oh shit, Kevin Owens is wearing a shirt of Randy's father.
I really hope that Kevin Owens wears a Dusty shirt when he cuts a promo on Cody, and I want Owens to go, you see this shirt? This is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time and your father. And I'm telling you right now, you will never live up to his legacy. That's the kind of shithead heel Kevin Owens is. And Kevin Owens' heelness, it's transcended. It's getting smarter. It's
yeah.
And that's what I love most about this build.
And No, go ahead.
Oh, just going into it, Kevin Owens does come back onto SmackDown. He tries to confront Cody Rhodes. Nick Aldis and all security is keeping him back. But there's one man who's caught in the middle of this. It's Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens' friend Randy Orton, who gets in the middle of this, and he takes an elbow to the face from Owens. He's the Viper. He's not going to take for this. And he nails Owens back with an elbow to the face, just to be like, you're making this personal now. And now Kevin Owens and Randy Orton are in this blood feud, where Randy Orton didn't want to necessarily do this to Kevin Owens, but he had no choice.
Yeah, and Owens is taking it personally as a betrayal because Orton chose Cody's side. So you got some layers there. I mean, why wouldn't Orton pick Cody's side? Cody's basically Orton's little protege from the Legacy days. But Orton, like, another thing I really, really fucking dig about this rivalry right now is how everybody else is building up Kevin Owens as this killer that we saw when he first arrived in NXT. Randy Orton's promo with Triple H, Paul Levesque in the ring on SmackDown, I actually thought that was a masterful promo. Because Randy was like, hey, listen, I want this match with Kevin Owens, and Paul Levesque isn't going to give it to me, but I know that Hunter will. I know that Triple H will. And Hunter looks at him and he's like, you want him at Crown Jewel, you got him. But just know, I was doing it to protect you, Randy. I was keeping Owens away from him because I don't want you to spend another 18 months on the shelf with a broken back. So,
but at the same time, this is Randy Orton we're talking about. This is the man that pulled John Cena's father over the barricade and kicked him in the head with no hesitation. This is the man that slapped Vince McMahon in the face just to avoid getting fired. This is the man that RKO'd Triple H's wife right in front of him and then kissed her while he was handcuffed to the ropes.
And also gave Vince McMahon a punt kick that he absolutely deserved. But anyway.
He also burned down Bray Wyatt's house. So my point being, Randy Orton is also a vicious motherfucker, and I don't think he should be scared of Kevin Owens.
No, and he wasn't scared. He wasn't backing down, smartly. Crown Jewel comes around, and yes, it is awesome that the crowd is still singing Randy's song when he comes down to the ring. It always is. I love it. But basically, there's no match. The match doesn't happen. The bell never rings, and these guys are brawling out there. You got officials out there. You got Shane Helms. You got Jamie Noble trying to get involved. I think Kevin Owens nailed Jamie Noble with a stunner. Randy Orton nails another agent with an RKO. But then you get Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis coming out to try and resolve the matter, which is weird because Nick Aldis is Raw's general manager. Why should he care about this?
I mean, Adam Pearce.
Yeah, no, what Adam Pearce? I'm sorry. Yeah. Nick, this is Nick Aldis's problem because this is on his show. Why the fuck is Adam Pearce out there? Well, it's because Adam Pearce is the one taking an RKO from Randy Orton,
which I still don't understand. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me why Adam Pearce is taking an RKO.
Collateral damage.
I know there's been like teases to a Randy Orton Nick Aldis feud, and people were saying, "Oh, Aldis can't take the RKO because that would take attention away from the Orton Owens problem." But I disagree. Why not start planting these seeds now? I don't think we're gonna get Orton and Aldis at WrestleMania next year, but I do think we're gonna get it at some point. And
at some point.
Subtly start planting the seeds now. We already did because Aldis took an RKO like the first night Randy Orton was on SmackDown when he returned. Yeah. Why not slowly start building to it now?
Exactly.
Slowly start building it to the point that when it does happen, Aldis is going to be like, you know what? I've sat here and taken your abuse for so long for the past like year or so. Like, I'm not going to stand for it anymore. I'm done being the SmackDown general manager. I'm putting the boots on and I'm going to show you why I'm the national treasure.
Yeah. I mean, I was pitching for Orton versus Aldis at Mania 40. but we obviously didn't get that. Randy is then, so these guys continue brawling, all over the arena. And Kevin Owens, the segment ends with Owens doing this crazy ass elbow drop on Owens on Orton rather, through a couple of tables. And then it cuts to black. Then we get a WWE shop ad. The match never starts. I can't rate this because it's not a match. But here's my issue with this, Tomas.
It was cool as fuck, though.
It was cool.
That Kevin Owens is a fucking madman.
He is a madman. This is the same guy that jumped off the WrestleMania sign during the pandemic. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
So, and what was supposed to be a jump off the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pirate ship in their stadium. So,
fucking sucks we never got that match.
Yeah. We should have gotten it. But here's my issue with this. They're building up Kevin Owens as this killer, right? A guy that's going to end Randy Orton's career. An elbow drop off the top of, like, a bunch of bleachers is crazy in and of itself. Kevin Owens is a lunatic. But I thought they were building towards, like, an apron powerbomb or something like that. Like, a little bit more devastating than what we actually got at Crown Jewel. Something that could put Randy on the shelf. On SmackDown, that's what I'm getting to, though.
Yeah.
SmackDown comes along. Randy Orton is furious. He wants Kevin Owens like nobody else. Kevin Owens comes out wearing a shirt that says Kevin is right, which I love. And then Kevin and Orton get into another tiff. The ages are trying to break it up. Kevin Owens hits a package pile driver on Randy Orton.
Hell yeah. And if you know your Kevin Owens history, that was his finishing move in Ring of Honor.
I never in a million years thought I would see that on the WWE program. Randy Orton sold this package. He was in such a state of catatonic shock when he took this package pile driver. And then the pain gets to him. Like his hands start shaking. Starts looking like a Parkinson's patient or something. Cody Rhodes is escorting Randy into the ambulance. That's the Kevin Owens I want. We should have gotten that at Crown Jewel. Absolutely. We should have gotten that package pile driver at Crown Jewel. But
you know what? The build. It's all about the build.
Yeah.
And, again, your Kevin Owens history. The package pile driver was his finishing move in Ring of Honor. When he came to WWE, he turned it into the package power bomb, which I was just like, I see what you're doing there, and I understand why, but that sucks. But it's so cool that we got to see the package pile driver in WWE.
That better be Kevin Owens' new finisher.
No, it won't. It won't.
Right
now, it won't.
It's just going to be the nuclear option. Is he going to pin Cody Rhodes at Survivor Series for the belt with the package pile driver?
Pile drivers are still very dangerous in professional wrestling. Save it when it matters.
Yeah.
Save the move for when it matters.
I mean, I'm pitching Kevin Owens to beat Cody Rhodes for the title and have a brief run with it. But anyway, we'll see how this goes, but I think it's a really interesting storyline going on. I don't know about you.
Yep. Up next, we have something I didn't think was going to be on this pay-per-view, and I'm glad that we got it. We have the PLE debut of Carmelo Hayes and Andrade taking on LA Knight.
Yeah.
Triple threat match for the United States Championship. If you've been watching SmackDown, Andrade and Carmelo Hayes have been head-to-head in this best-of-7 series. They've been using a lot of basketball terms of it, using, calling
baseball.
Basketball.
Baseball also. They were likening it to the World Series. Like Game 7 of the World Series.
Gimmick, it's all about basketball. His finishing move is called nothing but net. So I look at it more.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
With that being said, though, it's been a best-of-7 series, and the final match of the series had LA Knight as a special guest referee because the winner was supposed to get a United States Championship match. The match did never finish, so they decided to make it a triple threat. And this was so much fucking fun.
Can I ask you something real quick? LA Knight's supposed to be a babyface, right?
Yes.
So, is it just me, or was he coming off a bit like a douchebag when he ended that match? Like somebody that the crowd's supposed to boo. Like, like
I looked at it as he just wanted to fuck with Andrade and Hayes because, of course, he doesn't like Hayes. And Knight and Andrade have kind of had some heat on TV. They had their United States Championship match, and after LA Knight botched a move, he was really upset with himself. And when Andrade was trying to calm him down, LA Knight was like, no, I'm fucking mad that I messed up that move. So I kind of like that. It's kind of like, yeah, LA Knight's the babyface, but he still doesn't like Andrade.
Yeah, but point being, I am so glad that the U.S. title is getting some recognition again on pay-per-view since LA Knight won it from Logan Paul at SummerSlam. And I'm also glad that Andrade and Carmelo Hayes are getting rewarded for their amazing work on television in their series because their chemistry is excellent. and they're sort of getting a pay-per-view match together, but LA Knight is just the third wheel in there. This match was excellent. At this point, this was the best match on the entire show. These guys put together great offense. Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, like, again, just creating magic together. LA Knight, no slouch either. I like it.
They did a lot in 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's my other issue. If this match gets 5 more minutes, I'm not kidding, Tomas. This is a match of the year contender for me.
This match was very fun, all things considered. And you just look at Andrade, and I was just in amazement to, like, how the fuck is this man able to do the things that he does? I will never not be impressed when he does a moonsault, lands on his feet, and then immediately connects with the second moonsault. I will never not be impressed when he does that fake out back elbow so smoothly you don't see it coming.
You know what else? Andrade just looks so fucking happy to be here too. Like,
looks great. This is the best shape I've ever seen Andrade in.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Carmelo Hayes is the fucking future.
Yeah, Carmelo, no pun intended. Yeah, Carmelo Hayes, like, after watching him live, after watching him for past 2-3 years he's been in the business, like, he has such a high ceiling. Him and Andrade. Also, go ahead.
Carmelo Hayes, shout out to Carmelo Hayes, because he said on social media, when I win the United States Championship, I'm bringing back the spinner title, baby.
Could you fucking imagine? But yes, LA Knight is bashing Carmelo's head into the announce table on the outside. There is an inverted Spanish fly slam by Andrade, which, again,
Jesus Christ.
Andrade's the MVP of this match. Like, I'm just going to say that right now. I think Andrade was the star here.
Him and Carmelo Hayes are not human.
No, they aren't.
They're just insane.
These guys are so freaking great together. Andrade hits a Mexican destroyer on Carmelo Hayes, because if I called it a Canadian destroyer, Tomas would absolutely call me out on that and say a Mexican destroyer.
They're not Canadian.
Yeah.
Knight's Canadian.
So if Carmelo Hayes hits that move, is it a Boston destroyer?
Yes.
So if LA Knight hits that move, it's a Los Angeles destroyer?
Yes, LA Destroyer. That's a great name.
No, it's not. It's such an overused move right now. Petey Williams is probably
used the Alabama Slam. I called it the Bulgaria Slam.
Yeah. Oh, I do remember that. Yeah. LA Knight goes for the spot where he leaps onto the turnbuckle and tries to catch both guys. He did slip a little bit. It wasn't as smooth as Shelton Benjamin would do it, but they recovered just fine. I think, it didn't hurt the match at all. Mello does hit a nothing but net leg drop on the back of LA Knight's head, and it was a very, very close near fall there. Like, I don't know. It's, man, Mello's finisher, like, it almost is likened to John Cena's leg drop that he would do off the top rope to people who are bent over. Mello just adds his own flair to it. And I think it's a really cool move.
That, yes, I want to see LA Knight keep going with this title, but you would have seen zero complaints from me if Carmelo Hayes or Andrade would have picked up the win.
Zero. But lo and behold, Mello goes for a sort of facebuster move on Andrade, but at the same time, LA Knight swoops in and hits the butt force trauma on Mello, and then the facebuster happens at the same time. Oh, it was so awesome. So fucking clean. That was a clean ass finish. LA Knight
picks up the win, and he retains the United States Championship. Fuck it, 3 3/4 stars. This was so much fun.
Same. I would have given it 4 if they got 5 more minutes. That's the same thing I said during the WrestleMania 22 podcast, right? Those guys only got 9 minutes, but you give them 5 more minutes, and that match is also a match of the year contender. So, I don't know what it is about these. Yeah. Go ahead.
Shit, I kind of lost my train of thought, but I remember what I was going to say. This was the definitive win that LA Knight needed against 2 high-caliber athletes for his United States Championship. Not to seem like legitimate, but I want more of these pay-per-view defenses. Sure, he can have great defenses on TV all the time, but I don't think everybody sees those TV defenses. He needs to be on pay-per-view. Yeah,
as does Braun Breaker, right? Defending the Intercontinental title,
1,000%.
Yeah. Sheamus should be
on. What happened to them alternating which mid-card titles get defended on what show? This is what I'm saying. A 6th match, Hunter. A 6th match on these PLEs and you could give so much exposure, especially your champions.
Yeah.
Let me try that again. The tag team titles, since getting split up, have not been defended on pay-per-view once.
Blasphemy. And now that you have Motor City Machine Guns and DIY on a collision course, that's exactly what I'm saying. Put that match on pay-per-view, and you can get a 4-star match out of the Guns and DIY. I swear to God.
And put the titles on War Raiders. Please.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm tired of the Judgment Day as champions.
Yeah.
So fucking tired of it.
Yeah. New blood on Raw's tag team division, which I think is so much more weak than SmackDown's tag team division. I'm just saying. But anyway, you got a main event here, which is super, super polarizing. And I think we're going to get into some debates here. Cody Rhodes versus Gunther for the Men's Crown Jewel Championship. It is champion versus champion. To determine the champion of champions, Gunther is going in as the reigning defending king of the ring. He's the world heavyweight champion. They tried to make some semblance of a story out of this match with Cody and Gunther. Like, Cody having Gunther's number in the Royal Rumble match 2 years in a row. And then Gunther cutting a great promo on Cody during a summit where he's like, "This is bullshit, Cody. You're not doing it for your kids. You're not doing it for Liberty." You know?
Cody Rhodes for trying.
Yeah.
For trying his heart out to make this Crown Jewel Championship important. But he said one thing in his promos that really rubbed me the wrong way. He said that he needs to win this Crown Jewel Championship for his daughter so she can be proud of her father. Cody?
You're the WWE champion!
Cody, listen to me, buddy. You beat Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania for the WWE Championship, ending his 4-year-long reign, and you had help from The Undertaker. Is that not good enough? You had the whole locker room. You had Michael Cole basically breaking kayfabe.
And crying.
Is that not good enough? You think your daughter's going to grow up? Look at that moment. It's like, yeah, my dad's a fucking jabroni. He didn't do shit.
Cody, I love you, buddy, but that promo wasn't very good. It really wasn't. But, Jesus. It's almost like we're hearkening back to 2021 where Cody's walking out with like 10 people. Like, you remember that?
Yeah, it's not good enough for you. Cody is the main event of WrestleMania, winning the championship, the match that you begged for, the match that you somehow got the company to change their mind on The Rock.
Being on the John Cena schedule as the champion, that's not good enough for your daughter. You have to win this. You have to win this fabricated championship that was constructed out of literal blood money, and then that's what's going to make your daughter proud. Like,
so again, they tried, and you know, I was at least going into this match saying Cody and Gunther are going to have a really good match.
Yes,
to an extent.
It was a great professional wrestling match. You know, like these guys. I knew. Go ahead.
This match that I liked, but you might disagree with me when I say this, but out of all the Gunther matches I've seen on PLE, this might be one of the weakest.
Well, I mean, that's also like saying that I don't know. That's also like saying that the worst flavor of Jolly Rancher is blue raspberry, but you still get a really good flavor out of it.
That's actually a really good analogy.
Yeah. So, because Gunther's matches, like, you know, that guy, a lot like Will Ospreay on the other side, Gunther is allergic to having terrible matches. He really is. You know, like, you can't really.
Let's quote our good buddy Greg. And
he
says, I'm going to use his analogy, but I'm going to apply it to Gunther. A Gunther match is like pizza and sex. Even when it's bad, it's good.
I actually didn't hear that one, so sorry, Greg. Sorry, Greg.
All the time.
Awesome. So, Cody and Gunther in a vacuum, like these two guys go in there and they can have a great pro wrestling match, and they absolutely did. But the fact that the story here is basically just like who's the better champion between the two. Gunther is saying like I don't take the public appearances. Like they ask me to do the public appearances, but I say no. I have the balls to say no, and Cody has to.
So here's the thing: you have a really good babyface promo in Cody Rhodes, and you have a really good heel promo in Gunther. but the story is non-existent. You
Yeah.
know, speaking of Greg, he would always say that the brand versus brand warfare, like at Survivor Series, started to not make sense because the draft would happen like in October, and then all of a sudden you would have guys that would barely have been on the show for a month wearing the Raw and SmackDown shirts and fighting for brand supremacy. Like, who cares? I'm going to put this into an example. What if somebody wins the World Championship a month before this match? They don't even have time to establish themselves as a world champion, and then they got to go into another match and prove that they're the better champion. Like, Gunther's only been world champion since SummerSlam, and he's had, what, like 2 defenses? Like, I don't think that's enough time for him to establish himself as a world champion. So that's when I say that the story here is very non-existent.
He beat Randy and Basher Berlin, and he beat Sami Zayn right before Bad Blood, right? Those were the 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, Gunther needs more. And I'm sure he's going to get a title defense at Survivor Series and Saturday night's main event, Royal Rumble. He's probably going to get a headline match at WrestleMania. I'm hoping it's Gunther and Cena, but I'm not holding out hope for it. But yeah.
You know what? How this match turned out, yes, I'm being very bitter. Gunther better hold this fucking title for 7,000 days.
At the
hyperbole.
At the earliest next year's SummerSlam. He should be walking into Mania 41 as champion, and he should be retaining that title at WrestleMania 41.
100%.
Like, that's what I think.
The match was good. It showed how good of a professional wrestler Cody Rhodes is.
I thought it was great.
He gets to the grappling with Gunther. I thought he hung in there very well. And he only took to the sky for a couple of Cody cutters, so the match was very grounded, and I really very much liked that. He kicked out of a Gunther bomb, which I think was a big deal.
The crowd was buzzing for this match, too. Like, you can't deny that this crowd was so into it.
They were doing the wave, and Gunther started doing the wave with them, which was funny as fuck.
I want to meet Gunther. I would love to meet Gunther. He's probably a really cool guy. But Cody ends up hitting the bionic elbow, and the crowd then responds by chanting, Dusty, Dusty, Dusty. But Cody, he hits that Cody cutter. Gunther has the sleeper hold, which he's been putting over as his finishing submission maneuver since SummerSlam when he beat Damian Priest for the belt. And Cody is in this hold for God knows how long. Cody ends up hitting a crossroads, and he's too tired to make a cover. Because Gunther would probably kick out of a one crossroads. Like, that's another thing. Like, Roman Reigns even said during the Bloodline Rules match, hey, you know what? That move sucks. That doesn't beat anybody. Can't beat anybody with one crossroads. Can't really beat them unless you do 3 straight in a row at this point. Do you think it's time for Cody to get a new finisher?
Monster made a really good point. He said, if Cody Rhodes can't beat somebody with his finisher unless he does it 3 times, what does that say about his finisher?
I mean, same thing with John Cena. He usually had to take multiple attitude adjustments for him to beat big opponents like this.
I'm going to do something that I usually don't do, and I'm going to quote the Young Bucks. One time, the Bucks tweeted Shawn Michaels and say, damn, how did you put people down with 1 super kick? We have to hit at least 10. That's because Shawn Michaels is the king of the super kick. He only needs jabronis.
Yeah, but the finish of this match, I thought, had a lot of really good counter wrestling. Some good amount of drama in this match, too, albeit weird enough because it's for the Crown Jewel Blood Money Championship. Cody ends up going for a second crossroads for a good near fall. Gunther counters out of a third crossroads back into the sleeper hold. Cody goes for a super Cody cutter off the top. Gunther, oh man, this spot was so clean. This was so clean. He goes for the super Cody cutter. Gunther catches him in the sleeper hold. And then Cody rolls over. It's the Bret Hart Roddy Piper spot all over again. And he pins Gunther for 3. And Cody Rhodes is the first ever Crown Jewel champion. Tomas hates it. I don't mind this finish. I do not mind Gunther getting pinned because it was by a hair. It was by a hair, okay? Cody Rhodes, listen, Bret Hart always beat his opponents by the skin of his teeth, right? He beat Bam Bam Bigelow at King of the Ring 1993 with a victory roll. He beat Roddy Piper for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 8 the same way Cody did here. Bret Hart beat Stone Cold Steve Austin at Survivor Series 96 the same exact way here. He also, what was the other one I was thinking of? He beat Diesel to end his year-long reign as the WWF champion at Survivor Series 1995 with an inside cradle. And Diesel got back up, and Diesel, similarly to Gunther here, was furious. And Gunther is up, he's slapping the mat, he's so frustrated. Cody's just sitting there, he is so relieved that he barely beat Gunther. I didn't mind this finish. I really did not mind this finish.
Okay. Ready for a rebuttal?
Yes.
Gunther should not be getting pinned.
He shouldn't be.
This is why.
I agree.
I am against these champion versus champion matches, because you look at Gunther's booking and you look at the way his trajectory is going. As the Intercontinental Champion, he got pinned. He lost the Intercontinental Championship. What did he do after that? He bounced right the fuck back, won the King of the Ring, and won the World Heavyweight title. And he should not be getting pinned again until he loses the World Heavyweight Championship. So to put this random champion versus champions match for a insignificant title and him taking another pin is blasphemous to me. All respect in the world to Cody Rhodes. If he's going to take a pin from anyone, at least it was from the WWE champion. But my point being is the way Gunther has been presented and has been booked, he should not be getting pinned, period. You know who has pinned Gunther before Cody Rhodes? Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov, Sami Zayn. An elite class of superstars, and now he's taken another loss. And now, I'm not saying it's going to happen right away, but the more pins Gunther's going to take, the more the mystique is going to fade away. And that's why pinfall losses who matter. I understand that it was by a hair. I understand that it's still a blemish, though, and it bugs me to no end. I wanted to see Gunther win, but even if Gunther won, that wouldn't have done Cody Rhodes any favors.
No.
He took a pinfall earlier this year with Money in the Bank. So that's why I just did not like the concept of this match whatsoever.
Not only that, do you remember Drew McIntyre pinning Cody Rhodes on Raw in the build to WrestleMania?
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember that very well.
That's what just irks me so much about this. But with that being said, it does add to the storytelling of Gunther's character. And I think I finally figured out Gunther's Achilles heel. It's his own confidence.
Yes.
Because let's take us back to WrestleMania. Why did Gunther lose to Sami Zayn? Oh, people will say, oh, Sami Zayn got lucky. Oh, Sami Zayn, through great determination, was able to defeat Gunther. No, he didn't. Gunther was so confident going into that match. He said he was going to steamroll right through Sami Zayn, and he was going to embarrass Zayn on the grandest stage of them all in front of his wife. And he almost did that, but he was so preoccupied with embarrassing Sami Zayn in front of his wife that he let his guard down just long enough for Sami Zayn to hit a fucking brain buster off the top rope, followed by 2 haluva kicks. Same story here. Gunther was so confident that he was going to just walk through Cody Rhodes, claim the Crown Jewel Championship because of the momentum he's been on, that he let his guard down for a split second for Cody Rhodes to get the pin. But Gunther's demeanor after the match and his demeanor on Monday Night Raw, he was calm, cool, and collected. And he basically said, I made a mistake. I'm never going to do that again.
Yeah, exactly. And Gunther, I think, is one of the most unique top heels that the WWE has ever seen. Because you think of promos like Gunther, you think of the elitist snobs like Gunther, you think of Triple H, you think of JBL, you think of King Booker, who we'll be talking about. None of those guys, after they lost clean in the middle of the ring, not one of them went up to the face after the match and shook their hand. Gunther
reluctantly, but he still did it.
No, Gunther goes up there Bash at Berlin. Gunther shook Randy Orton's hand after the match, after giving Randy Orton what arguably could be the best match of Randy's career. You know why Gunther shakes the hands of his opponents here? He's the ring general. He respects the art of professional wrestling. And Gunther, I don't know, man.
I would say reluctantly, because he did go up to Cody Rhodes and he quickly shook his hand like, fine, you did it. You were the better man. Now get out of my face. Like, he was very angry at himself for losing that match.
Yeah.
But again, he was calm, cool, and collected the next Monday Night Raw. And he said, I'm not here to make excuses. Cody Rhodes beat me. I wasn't on my game that night. But basically, it's never going to happen again. So with that being said, he better steamroll right the fuck through Damian Priest.
Yeah, whether that be at Survivor Series or Saturday Night's Main Event, I think it's going to happen at Survivor Series. It hasn't been made official yet.
There's really no reason to hold off a match like Gunther and Damian Priest, considering we already got that match at SummerSlam. If this was him and Rollins, him and CM Punk, yeah, hold it off till Saturday Night's Main Event. But if it's a rematch against Priest, let's just get out of the way of Survivor Series.
Yeah, might as well. But yeah, this match I thought was excellent in a vacuum. I'm going to go with 4, maybe 4.25, maybe. I don't know. I mean,
I'm teetering between 3 3/4 and 4. You know what? This may be a little controversial. I'm going to go 3 3/4 because I still like the Randy Orton match more. Hell, I think I even like the Damian Priest match more. I just felt like It was just like there was no stakes in this match. It was champion versus champion. It was an excellently wrestled match, don't get me wrong. But there were no stakes. And
no stakes.
There was honestly nothing to gain and a lot to lose by either pinning your WWE champion or pinning your dominant world heavyweight champion. Both that have been booked very strongly since they won their respective championships. But, you know, Cody Rhodes is the quarterback of the company. He gets to hold the Crown Jewel title. I guess in that sense, sure, let Cody Rhodes have this. Gunther is already king of the ring. He's already the world heavyweight champion. He doesn't need the ring.
No.
He doesn't need a goddamn Saudi Arabia championship. Nothing against Cody Rhodes, but I just feel like that's an accolade that he could be more proud of. And for Gunther, it's like, I don't fucking need this.
No, yeah. And Cody also carries around the Super Bowl ring as well. But no, I thought this match was good. But again, saying this is Gunther's weakest of his pay-per-view matches this year, it's like saying that the worst meat to put on a pizza is Canadian ham. But it's still damn good. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's...
Pineapple belongs on pizza, guys.
No, fuck pineapple on pizza, you know. But anyway, Crown Jewel 2024 I thought was a pretty good show. I think it's better than some people are saying. I'm going to go with a 7 out of 10 for this one. Yeah, you had a
solid 7 in the sense of wasn't the greatest show in the world, but I've definitely seen worse.
Oh, way worse. Way worse.
A B- if I were to give it a letter grade.
Definitely far from the worst Saudi show we've ever seen. That distinction goes to the inaugural Crown Jewel in 2018, which I'm sure we'll talk about one day. But yeah, you know, can't really complain too much about WWE right now. We got War Games on the horizon in addition to Saturday Night's Main Event, and that will wrap up a very eventful 2024 for World Wrestling Entertainment. Oh, yeah. But no shortage of pro wrestling topics here on the ZNT Wrestling Show. We got Judgment Day 2006 still to talk about, ECW One Night Stand 2006, which is a very popular, demanded show, and we're finally going to be getting to it, guys. I promise you, we're going to get to that. And AEW has Full Gear. I don't know. I'm not really all that excited for it. But yeah, you know, we got a lot to talk about, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we do. Considering AEW is cold, it's colder than the frostbite in the back of my freezer right now. We're still going to look at the show. Yeah. You know, it's fun to watch things burn. And sometimes you just want to sit back and, you know, watch from a safe distance and be like, huh.
Sit back and watch the ship hit the iceberg. But yeah. So yeah, with that said, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Tap on that thumbs up as well if you enjoyed what you heard tonight. Stay tuned for more, and thank you all so much for tuning in. Commence that back talk. Talk to you guys soon.